Right, so I am chatting with Geordie. Geordie is a fellow type 1 diabetic or person with type 1 diabetes, is what I'm supposed to say. Um, Geordie, have you got a story to tell me?
Yeah, I'd say the most important time of my life when I had my daughter, who's now 7 years old. Um, I mean, during my pregnancy, I mean, it was I don't know how other diabetic pregnant people go out there, but I mean, my diabetes was the best it's ever been. I couldn't have got my levels over like 7 if I tried my hardest. Probably 6 to be honest.
Oh, I'd love
I,
that. I would love that.
I mean, like
I swear I
having
eat
myself
cereal,
through
no carbs
pregnancy.
in and I go sky high.
I mean, usually that's the way it is, but I don't know how that didn't happen during my pregnancy. I was always at 5 and 6, and it was amazing. And in my whole 20 years of being diabetic, I don't think I've ever had that. And it wasn't even me trying; it was just like naturally that
Yeah.
was happening in my body. And I mean, I did have like the worst pregnancy in the world. I mean, 9 months felt like 9 years. It was awful. And I mean, I was sick every day. Maybe that's why. I mean, I was sick a lot and I was hardly eating. Maybe that's why it helped as well, my levels being down. Maybe that's where I needed to think, actually, maybe you need to stop eating so much. This might help your diabetes if you stop eating a lot. And yeah, I mean, it was a scary time. I was probably in hospital, I think, 3 times during my pregnancy with just feeling ill, being dehydrated. I had to be induced early because I was diabetic, and they said, diabetic women don't usually go to full term. You tend to have bigger babies. And it was only when I was halfway through my pregnancy, they was actually telling me about risks and things to do with stillbirths. And I was just like, never even knew anything about that. I wasn't prepared to be the pregnant diabetic that I was. But yeah, I mean, that was a really hard time. And you know what? After that, that's when I sort of realized it's time to actually take a stand now. It's time for me to get my diabetes under control. I did it all through my pregnancy, and it was the hardest time of my life. So I can do it now. And since then, which was 7 years ago now, I definitely feel like I've got much more of a hold on my diabetes. I feel like I've learned so much more. I'm definitely taking things a lot more seriously. I've spoken to a few newer diabetic people because I do consider myself quite old school. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be such a terrible thing, I am a type of person that's always like, there are a lot more people out there worse off. And I mean, I think it's amazing. I go on Instagram and see these bodybuilders that are type 1 diabetics. I'm like,
Yeah, but
how?
what's his name? Is it Khalid? Khalid, oh, I can't think of his name, who's a bodybuilder in type 1.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I watched he did a live with Chris Bright recently, and I
Yeah,
watched that. Yeah, I mean, there's athletes. I couldn't think of the word athletes. Then there's athletes, there's cyclists, there's rugby players,
crazy.
there's footballers. Yeah, it's
And there's
brilliant.
nothing stopping you. There's nothing
Yeah,
stopping you. I do really think that. I think there's people that you wouldn't even know. Like you would not know there is anything. Well, not wrong. Nothing's wrong with us. But
yes.
there's people out there you wouldn't even know. And I just think like it's amazing. And I do think you don't have to be stopped. There's you can live a normal life, and you really can.
Oh, well, Geordie, it's been lovely chatting to you. I'm going to stop recording us now.